Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to yet another episode of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast with me, your boy Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire, my dude.
The Major.
What's happening, bro?
Very good, man. We here again. Episode number 9, man. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop, man. It's going to be a good one today, man. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, man.
We got a guest in the house today, man.
Special guest in the house.
That's it, man.
Up yourself, SK, man. Introduce yourself.
How you doing, man? I'm happy to be here, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to you guys, you know what I'm saying, podcasting, and it's been a great start that you guys have headed into the podcast world. And yeah, man, I'm just happy.
Appreciate that, man.
I mean, in the seat today.
We appreciate that, man. We generally do, man.
Bless for joining us this week, man.
No problem, man.
Thank you for that, man. So I'd say before we kick off, man, just SK, just take the mic, man. Just introduce yourself. And I know you're a humble guy. Throw humility out the window for a few minutes, man. Show off, man. Just tell us about yourself. Obviously, we know you, but for any of the viewers and listeners that might not, yeah, man, just tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, where you come from. Hit us, man. Do your thing.
Simple, man. In a nutshell, DJ, presenter. I'd like to say I started. Did I start as a DJ? Nah, yeah, I started collecting music first. And then shortly after that, in school corridors, we used to like spit and battle in the school corridors. From that, DJing in like sort of anywhere who had turntables, we'd have a friend who had turntables. We'd go to their house. We'd, you know what I'm saying, not rush the house, but you know what I'm saying, we'd be in there like mixing and stuff. And from there, being a DJ and then like throwing away the sort of MCing and battling thing, I've just been a DJ presenter. I love to do interviews. I podcast. I do a radio show. I've been on radio for, over 15 years. And yeah, man, I was working at the BBC for a little while, worked quite closely with Westwood, learned a lot from him as well, Tim Westwood, one of the biggest rap hip hop DJs in the UK and in Europe. So I learned a lot from him. And yeah, we find ourselves here now, man. And I just like to do interviews, podcasts, radio, and DJ. That's what I do, man.
Yeah, sounds dope, man. We love that, man. So you said you're on the radio and that. Do you want to tell the listeners a bit about the station and where they can tune in and check you out and that?
So I've been like, I've made the sort of transition from pirate radio, which was a great sort of schooling, to like sort of being a DJ presenter and a great part of the art form, the culture. So I've been on Heat FM. That's the first radio station I was on in North London. An iconic radio station known for like birthing a lot of grime and garage crews. Then I moved on to Deja Vu, East London 923. Similarly, a very iconic, legendary radio station that birthed a lot of grime crews and had a lot of like hip hop DJs on there as well, a lot of house. And I've been on Rinse FM for like 10 years now. Another iconic radio station responsible for birthing a lot of garage, grime, dubstep, house. You know what I'm saying? I could go through many names that have sort of been birthed through Rinse. But yeah, I've enjoyed like, you know what I'm saying? I was on Rinse before it turned legal. It's been legal for, I want to say I was on there for a couple of years and then it turned legal. So it's a legal radio station now. And I've done many radio shows. I've done like, I think when I started on there, I was on 9 to 11. Then I moved to like 5 to 7, then I done a 1 to 4 show, then I done 11 to 1, then I done a breakfast show from 2017 to 2020, and now I'm doing a Thursday morning show, man. My show consists of hip hop, UK rap. I like to play dancehall. I like to play R&B. That's what I play. That's what I champion.
Nice, man.
Respect.
Sorry if that was a lot of mumble jumble and a lot of stuff.
Not at all, bro. Not at all, man.
No, bro. Let the people know.
It's quite technical there, man. You've been doing your thing a long time, man. So it's good to hear that, man. Definitely. You're a learned guy, man, and know your stuff. So yeah, we thought it'd be nice to have you on the show, man. We know you've been supporting and checking out the show as well. So yeah, we thought it'd be good to have you on today. So once again, appreciate you joining us, man.
Sorry if you see me swigging from my my cup a little bit, man. I like to drink, tea. I drink tea. I drink a bit of alcohol.
I was gonna say, man, innit? There we are.
To be honest, wherever I am in the world, man, when I go to the Caribbean, I go to America, man, I take a box of like tea bags with me, man. So that's how I am. Yeah.
What's your favorite tea? What tea bag you rocking?
Right about now, I'm drinking green tea, man.
All right.
I'm not really particular on the brand. Like I try a few brands, and if I like them, I just continue buying them. But I'm on the green tea wave at the moment. But it's green tea, mint tea. That's only tea I drink, man.
Yeah, man, I'm on the green tea as well still.
Done now. Yeah,
Yeah.
get me.
Clean it out, you know?
Yes,
see,
sir.
see what I mean? See, the people are getting music, health tips. They're getting it all already, man. What,
Everything
we
here,
5
man.
minutes in?
Everything there. No?
See it there, man. No, we're loving it, man. Now, I appreciate you on, man.
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah,
what this week, E?
yeah. So what we're gonna run with today, man, is a topic called UK US differences. All right. So we thought we'd chop it up a bit about that, man. Our brothers and sisters overseas, man, across the pond, the love we got for America, we know that. But you know, we've been in this thing for a long time. We've been following hip hop for a long time, listening to hip hop for a long time, and the love affair that's going on right now hasn't always been the case, man. So there's a few differences. We thought we just maybe understand a few things and just chop it up as we do, man. Just about some of the differences, man. So yeah, man. I mean, probably off of the back of your intro there, SK. Probably one of the first questions we might just throw at you before we even get into the discussion. I know, and people who know you as well know that you're one of the interview kings out here in the UK. You've interviewed a lot of people, man. So looking at UK and US, who would you say was your probably top three or favorite three US artists that you've interviewed, and UK artists that you've interviewed?
See, this is tough for me to answer because a lot of people ask me this question, and I feel like if you ask me 7 days in a row, I might give you maybe 7 different answers. Memorable, I like to think a lot of them are memorable, man. I couldn't tell you how many interviews I've done, to be honest. I think like probably each year I probably average like I might average like somewhere between 70 to 100 interviews a year.
Okay.
So and I'll say I've been consistently doing that for like maybe 8-9 years now. So you know what I'm saying? I'll say. So I'd like to say I've done a few thousand interviews. So favorite interviews, like I really enjoy interviewing RZA from the Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? I've interviewed him a couple of times, and the reason why I've enjoyed interviewing him is because I feel like I'm always learning something from him as well, man. He's definitely a different guy.
Dude.
He's a very wise guy, man. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed interviewing him. When it comes to UK interviews, I really enjoy interviewing JME. Again, very unique individual. Is in his own lane, does his own thing.
Also
very
a smart
unique,
guy.
very smart.
Very smart.
Unique individual as well, man. I feel like you learn a lot from him as well, and it comes out in his music as well. So there are 2 guys either side of the pond that I really enjoy interviewing. I enjoyed interviewing Stormzy. I interviewed him quite early in his journey, 2015, I'd like to say.
Okay.
We had a dope conversation. That was quite, that's one that comes to mind. I really enjoyed that. A conversation that I had with Skepta around, I want to say around 2015 as well, before he released the Konnichiwa album. And it was quite like a off-the-cuff interview as well. We was backstage at a show in Camden. It was only meant to be like 5 minutes. We ended up talking for like 30 minutes. That was a dope conversation. Americans, I've interviewed probably Big Sean's been one of the artists I've interviewed the most. I think I've interviewed him like 5 times, and I've enjoyed my conversations with him. I feel like there's a glaring person from America that I'm like sort of overlooking who I've interviewed that I really enjoyed interviewing. Like last year during lockdown 2020, I've done a lot of like Zoom conversations, a lot of Zoom interviews, and I really enjoyed talking to Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That was a dope conversation, and the Locks as well. I had a dope conversation with the Locks.
Busta interviews are always, man. Anytime I've seen that dude interviewed, he's always dropping so many stories and gems, and every interview, man, he's doing something. Like he's talking about his history from the leaders of the new school, how they broke up, what he went into, his health, his career.
For sure.
Man, I always enjoy his interviews, man.
Why the Busta Rhymes one was so special as well is because he was actually one of the first rappers that was one of my first favorite rappers, and one of the first artists I started buying his music as well. So, you know, like maybe like 20 years, over 15 years later to interview him, was you know, was a moment.
Yeah,
Still,
that's
I
something
wish it was in person. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've met him before. That's the thing. I've met him before, but to interview him now was like, I suppose, a tick off the list. And I just wish it was in person. But maybe we do that, you know, next year or something like that. So
No,
yeah,
that's dope, man. That's a dope list of people there, man. They all bring something different to the table.
100%, man. Yeah, no, it's a good list, man. Definitely, man.
So sometimes there can be like, there's a difference between like, obviously I do interviews and then I have like conversations with people. So there's like off the record conversations I've had like with Pharrell, for example. We had a dope conversation. I never interviewed him, but we had a dope conversation. The same with Jay-Z as well. I had some dope conversations with Jay-Z, but never interviewed him. Eminem as well. Spent like hours with him and like, you know, had some funny times with him, but didn't interview him. Do you know what I'm saying? So there've been some occasions as well, man.
That's solid, man. That's solid.
Absolutely. So the whole thing about the UK versus US, man. Growing up hip hop, as they say, me personally, I was heavy into hip hop, American hip hop.
Yeah, same.
And people always ask me like, why don't you check for UK rappers or UK artists or whatever? And I was just like, it's just what I'm into. And then, but there was that whole thing about us getting music way later than America or having to pay a massive premium to get that music. Like, I remember when the Roots album dropped, Illadelph Half-Life, and you could only get it on import. On the CD was like $16.99 or something. When How High dropped in '95, the single alone, like one tune, was $7.99.
Yeah.
So we were having to pay out the arse to get this music. It wasn't as easy as just, you know, swiping on your phone or, you know, just walking to your local record shop, because a lot of places didn't have a hip hop section. You know what I mean? It'll be hidden in the rock and pop section, or it'll be under the urban section. You know what I mean? There wasn't a specific hip hop place, but over time there was shops and stuff that we knew that we could go to. You know, back in the day, we go to Reckless Records or Mr. CD or Uptown.
Like you can stream in your house, but you used to have to go to the R Price to listen to the music in the headphones in the R Price.
Yeah, exactly that.
Definitely.
That's all they do about R Price and that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I used to work at R Price, man, back in the day.
My days.
Yeah. So this is what we had to do to get our hands on the music, man. And my American cousins and stuff were always like, "Oh, how come you're so up on the music?" And I'm like, "Well, it's because we're invested. So we might get it a couple weeks like later. So the album might come out in June in America. We might get it maybe, I don't know, October or something in the UK." But I was still up on it. And it wasn't until later on that I got into some UK hip hop. Mainly due to Skinny Man always quizzing me about what I was listening to and stuff like that. Because he was around where my baby mum used to live.
Okay, cool.
Where she used to see around the way, man, with the peoples them and all that.
So I think Skinny's dope, man. I do.
Everyone, I never met anyone who doesn't love Skinny. Like,
you can't not. Yeah, definitely, man.
Exactly. Yeah. He's one of them dudes, isn't it? Like he's so passionate about music and about hip hop and all of that stuff. So it was always great having conversations with him about it. Like he's always asking you what you're listening to, why do you like him, why is he good, And
that's interesting as well. Big up Chester P.
Definitely, man.
You get me?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man, 100%.
So I think we should let the people know, man, you know, a little bit about UK hip hop, because a few of our viewers have asked us, like, how are you guys so up on music? Like, how have you managed to keep in tune? And what is the major differences between UK and US hip hop? So what's you guys' experiences, man, of that kind of that Atlantic Ocean divide between us and the States when it comes to hip hop?
I'll jump in here. You know what? When you was talking, I was going to ask you why you think, because same for me, and this is no disrespect to the UK, man. How can I disrespect UK hip hop, man? That's me. Do you know what I'm saying? But I've always had more love for American hip hop. You know, when I started coming into hip hop, it was the influence. So I remember, I don't know if you know Black Spot. He used to write for Double XL magazine as well. I was talking to him once because he's over here. He was with because I knew Jane Flame from Choice FM, so he was over here, and I was talking to them, and he was talking to me about American hip hop and UK hip hop, and he was saying that Americans want to hear what happens over here. Do you know what I'm saying? And they felt at the time a lot of the UK hip hop that was coming out was UK people trying to be American, right? And they didn't like that, so it was an instant turn off. So I began thinking about it like that, and I was starting to think you would levitate towards UK hip hop because
we're from here.
But I think the appeal is the unknown. Do you know what I'm saying? I learned about New York, I learned about the West Coast, I learned about America through hip hop. Do you know what I mean? So it was something that it was informative for me as well. They would talk about things. We've had this discussion before. They would use slang, certainly you'd have to look into. You didn't really know what it was. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was an appeal of the unknown. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So I always just found it more intriguing and more mystique, as you said, was surrounding it. So I was kind of more into the American side of things, But yeah, I mean, in regards to the influence is always to sort of come from the US hard. Do you know what I'm saying? But what was your question, bro? Sorry, I was just thinking about that and I've lost the question again. Sorry, man. What did you say?
What do you think the major divide is between UK and because it does exist? Like let's
100%.
It does exist to this day. It's probably got closer now than what it used to be when we were younger. But for me personally, I spent a lot of time in the States as a kid, as a teenager. I'll always be over there for holidays, or you know what I mean. I spend summer holidays there with my family and stuff like that. So it wasn't too much of a change for me to be soaking up UK hip hop. So the slang and stuff that was used, I'd know what a bodega is because you know wherever I'm going with my cousins, they'll be like, "Oh, let's go to the bodega because the bodega will sell everything." And there's always a cat in the bodega and all of that kind of stuff. So when I'd hear that kind of language, I'd know because I was experiencing it. So it wasn't too much of a difference. I just preferred it. Production sounded better in America. The beats always sounded better. In England, a lot of the beats sounded tinny. The drums weren't as crisp and stuff like that. It's got a lot better over time. And as you said, the accents, it was almost like an imitation of Americans rather than speaking about where you're from. That's drastically changed over the years as well. So talking about the major Atlantic Ocean divide between us and them, which we see on Twitter all the time, like they were like, it could be fire, but you know, if you hear a UK person rapping, that instantly kills the tune, kind of thing. Yeah, I think that kind of still raises its head today. So where do you think that comes from? Do you think it is mainly about the accents, or do you think it's the sounds in general, or is it just that a load of Americans don't know much about the UK? Because a lot of them think like UK artists are pussy, like, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? So
that's why a lot of them come over and get robbed.
You know what I mean? They ain't got no hoods over there, but a lot of them come here and they find out it's not sweet over here. So I think some of that might play into it as well. But what do you guys think?
I think what the major difference is as well, like the UK was having somewhat of an identity crisis when we're talking about sort of the 90s and the early noughties. It was trying to find itself. Now, when we talk about American hip hop, it goes back to the 70s. DJ Kool Herc being a pivotal part of the inception of hip hop as we know it back in the 70s from New York and the Bronx. And he was obviously of Caribbean heritage. So I think it comes from the same lineage, if you think about it, like, because a lot of the, rap scene over here is Caribbeans or Africans, you know what I'm saying? So with the UK, just culturally, I think like cultures change, not just music, cultures change. If you grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, American culture was very much part of your TV screens, Hollywood, the music, the rap scene was blowing up. Do you know what I'm saying? Where we are in the UK rap scene now is probably where the US was in the early to mid 90s at best. Do you know what I'm saying? Artists are just starting to chart now, major labels, consistent success, their own identity, finding themselves and all that kind of stuff. Yes, back in the 90s and early noughties, the UK rap scene had American accents, had poor production. Now it's different. It's a different generation now. There's an identity now. That's been through, like, again, the evolution. You could say that a major turning point in UK rap, UK MC culture was So Solid. You know what I'm saying? Their album came out 2000, 2001. They don't know. Before that, a lot of the UK rappers, it's almost like a sort of lost era, lost generation. We can refer to, like, your Rodney P's, your Black Twangs, your
Black
Skinny
Twang.
Mans, and all those guys.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? They're the forefathers, and people do respect them, but I don't think they get the homage. And it was a muddy
Because they were
time.
very British. Yeah, they were
They
very British in their rap.
see, they were some of the names mentioned. They were very British at a time when it weren't cool to be British. So at the same time, there was an identity crisis, and rappers were trying to be American, and that was the thing. If you were British, man, were like, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Now it's the thing to be British. You know what I mean? Because an identity has been found.
Bro? Have you seen the flip?
Of
now
course,
well?
I've seen a flip.
100%.
With drill music now, you've got Americans taking drill music, as in UK drill, not Chicago drill, and trying to rap over those kind of beats.
See,
so
do you know what?
It's been like amazing to me, because seeing what it used to be, it was like, it's UK. I ain't touching that. To
Definitely
rapping over UK kind of influence music. It's crazy.
So trying to cite the influence, we be going round and round in circles, because like I said, DJ Kool Herc, like not just, you know, all of us in here know that DJ Kool Herc, one of the pivotal figures of the early inception of hip hop, and he came from the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying, based in the Bronx, New York, where hip hop had its inception, you know what I'm saying? But he is a Caribbean, and like I say, our lineage over here is Caribbean. The American lineage of like hip hop comes from funk and soul, indirectly through Kool Herc, who was Caribbean. Our lineage over here comes from garage, comes from grime, garage, drum and bass,
reggae,
ragga, all of that stuff. But then there's also a hybrid of electro and dance music. The dance music, house music, Chicago house, it's all muddied. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of entanglement. So whereas there was Chicago drill, now there's UK drill, and UK drill is being repackaged and going back to America. Exactly. But initially it was Chicago drill. UK drill influenced by Chicago drill. Then you got UK drill. Then UK drill goes back and it's like Brooklyn drill. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, but let's look at it from this point. Hip hop first came from New York. So naturally it's taken a long time, or a certain considerable amount of time, for the UK to get its own identity. I've also been involved in conversations where man don't like the term UK hip hop, because you're calling it UK hip hop, so it's always going to be a son to, you know what I mean, it's UK. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Why can't it just be hip hop? UK based hip hop, you know what I'm saying? It's the same. I feel like UK R&B suffers a lot with that at the moment. Why is it UK R&B? It's just R&B. Do you know what I'm saying? The problem
I don't think R&B gets it like that. I think it's hip hop mainly. There's like you're saying, I agree with everything you've been saying. I think when people look at R&B, I feel that they more look at R&B as just a style. Do you know what I'm saying? Whether it's UK, US, they more appreciate that for whether it's pop, soul, R&B, what have you.
There was a period though, bro. There was, man, like around TV-based times, there was that whole UK soul, UK R&B.
It was your soul to soul, your Omars, and they was in the class of their own. Yeah, 100%.
And you had Mystique and all them kind of bands there, and they were all
no.
And then what they tried to do, which used to really piss me off, is they used to try and package everything together. So rather than having hip hop, soul, R&B, it will be urban, and they'll just throw everything together under that urban banner. Which for me, is just
there was
N-word, like, you know,
there was people that didn't like that. There was people that didn't like that. There was people that didn't like the urban thing, and there was a lot of people that I didn't love it, to be honest. But the thing is, it's like, what do you want? Do you want segregation for UK time and US time, or international time, or do you want it all together? We are at a point now where UK and US music stands shoulder to shoulder. Before, like maybe 15 years ago, maybe not even that long ago, when you played, like, when a UK song was played after an American or international song, you felt like the person who was playing it was like really like trying to bring someone that was a friend or whatever, and it just sonically didn't sit right next to it. Now there's no difference, man, and that's all testament to the evolution also of this UK scene. The industry, the labels, the like streaming's had a lot to do with that now. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to rely on a major label. There's a lot of DIY going on. So there's a real identity here. I could mention many artists over here. You could say, yes, they've got an influence indirectly, but directly, they're not even looking at, you know, when you speak to maybe a Digger D, he might not even tell you any UK, he might not tell you any American artist that he's inspired by. Do you know what I'm saying? You might have,
that's when we had the whole thing of, we've got UK hip hop, like, but we're not interested in what America's doing or whatever. But then I'm like, bro, you wouldn't have hip hop if it wasn't for America. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, but like, in all due respect, we're at a time now where they might not cite a direct influence by America, but they are indirectly influenced by America.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But listen, man, it's everybody's art. Like who they choose to cite as an influence, whether they're lying or not lying, that's their choice. I think that the music and the art is up for interpretation. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think UK hip hop tries to stand its own and be, and I've just said it as well, UK hip hop. What I was going to say before is that I feel the reason why the UK scene can stand shoulder to shoulder with the US scene at the moment is because it's finally carved out a lane for itself. I think, as you said, that there was an identity crisis before. We felt like we had to either speak American and like you rightly said, your London Posses and your Silver Bullet and these kind of people, Demon Boys and all these guys, they were British. You know what I'm saying? You had Hijack and people like that did rap with Americanism, but that's because they were signed by Ice-T and they had that direct American influence, and we get that. But the main UK guys, it was kind of frowned upon to just be straight UK, or not frowned upon, but it wasn't as cool. But now I feel like the reason why people do say UK hip hop is because it's almost something completely different now. And I'm not talking about your underground rappers. I got to shout out Yints at this point, because he's probably, out of all the non-British people I know, he probably knows more underground UK rappers than even I do. You see what I'm saying? So respect to Yints for that. But most people, if you're going to know UK hip hop, it's going to be the commercial stuff or what's out there. And that almost doesn't have a hip hop feel to it. It's almost, I don't know if you want to deem it as grime, or I don't even know. But like you said, So Solid came, there was a whole shift with that. The garage turned into the grime, into the drill, into the UK hip hop. It's almost just like it's got its own strain of hip hop now, and that's why UK hip hop can stand as it stands now, because it's something completely different. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something as well, man. Like why the scripts flipped as well. We have to recognize the origin and the influence, yeah. But if you listen to UK radio at the moment, it has changed drastically, and that is like testament to like how things are at the moment. You used to listen to UK radio like maybe, let's say 10, 15 years ago, and you would hear like, if it was a rap show or it was like it's an urban station, you would hear like 85%, 90% American hip hop and R&B. Now you're lucky if you even hear 50% American stuff. That was the time when Americans used to come to this country and they was the kings. The carpet was rolled out for them, the red carpet. Now, when American rappers come to this country, they are trying to find out who the hot UK rapper is. They're trying to sign them and get some of that heat.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Because you seen Drake come over here and develop a British accent and all them shits there. And then
my man's from Tottenham there.
You got people, people like Little Sims who's killing it.
You know what? People say that about Drake, man, but we have to definitely appreciate that Toronto and London have that same sort of feel of like the Caribbean kind of mix. Do you know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, but I don't hear London rappers try to talk like they're from Toronto, bro. Like
no, but we share a lot of like what people don't understand. Yeah, people think a lot of these phrases actually come from London. Yeah, shall I tell you
from the West Indies,
the West Indies and that. Yeah, but shall I tell you what? Yeah, the first person I heard say "fam" was Jay-Z.
Really?
How about that? Yes, the first person I heard say "fam" was Jay-Z, and I reckon this was back in like, this is like conversations and like being around him, and like, this is back in like 2002 or something, like 2001, around them times. There, I heard him say "fam."
That's interesting, because it's pretty. I'm saying it's always been in conversation from school, like calling people fam, and it was blood. That
it was blood. I was gonna say.
Yeah. And where does blood come from? Man. And where does blood come from? Does that come from London?
That's the Caribbean, man.
So like Toronto,
all of that stuff. We know that it's all Caribbean influence.
When you hear Drake saying "waste man" and you hear him saying "fam" and all these things, yeah, it's not London. It's from the Caribbean.
Don't sound natural.
But you know what? Through my experience, yeah, talking, I just interviewed a Canadian Montreal artist the other day by the name of Skyfall. No Y, it's SKIIFALL. The double I instead of the Y. Bro, you speak to him, you might think, you can notice a slight difference in the way he talks, yeah, but there's a lot of similarities. And I think that's what not a lot of Londoners or Brits understand about Canada and Toronto in particular, is that they share our culture, man. They share our
Okay,
culture.
let me put it this way: Cardinal Official, right, from Toronto,
Yeah.
hard rapper, bars, everything. He's always repped the Caribbean in all his music. You
Yeah.
can tell he's very Caribbean influenced. I never had that from what I've heard from Drake. I've never sat through his
All right.
albums.
So you see Cardi.
He on all this stuff, the grime stuff. He'll come over and he'll be like, "It don't sound natural, man. It sounds horrible." With
All right.
Cardinal, it sounded proper. It sounded natural. That's where he's from. That's his influence. That's the music he listened to. I'm not hearing that Drake was listening to Beanie Man and Ninja Man and all that in the house.
Really?
I'm not hearing. I'm not having that, bro. I'm not. It doesn't feel natural from him. It sounds
All right,
because he didn't start like that.
It sounds beggy. It sounds beggy.
He didn't start like
the
that.
reason why he might not be, or what you deem as natural, is Cardi, Cardinal Official, he's actually Caribbean.
Exactly.
Whereas Drake is around the Caribbean culture. That's the difference. Yeah, Drake ain't Caribbean, so that's where you might see the difference. So it's just like so you can criticize the same way you might want to criticize Drake for using certain of these terms. It's the same way how you might want to criticize your brethren that ain't from the Caribbean and ain't African.
But we used to do certain phrases.
But I don't think I think it's a cultural thing. It's a generation thing. Like Wagwan ain't a black thing no more, bro. That's not a black thing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not a black thing. Like we know where it originates from, but when you see a man say Wagwan now and he's not like of the darker shade here, do you look at him like raw? Like no, it's normal. You do.
It feels weird.
Really?
Yeah, it does. It
does. It's not that. I get you. I get your point.
Really? Stack, where do you live? Where do you live? Where did you grow up, bro?
London.
But that's surprising me. You hear you say that, man. I mean, like other people. Europeans and other people outside of like the Caribbean and Africa have been using Wagwan for a long time, and if you're still looking at it,
that's
like,
cultural influence, isn't it? That's cultural influence.
It's influence.
Yeah, but I don't know if it just feels unnatural to me. I just can't buy it, man.
How do you differentiate between like what is natural?
You can tell when someone's forcing it. Basically, you can tell when someone's putting it on, or when someone's
it's not natural at all.
Right. So, all right, I'll use this example now. Right. When we was young and we were buying Nike Dunks, and we were buying Nike Jordan 1s, and we were buying all the Jordans, right? Who we honestly seeing wearing them things there? Who we honestly
Americans,
seeing?
Rappers, Americans.
Or it was black people on the street.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Nowadays, you're seeing white teenagers wearing all these stuff there. So they've got their influence off whatever. But it's not what I grew up watching, because then they were like, "Oh, why are you not wearing all Jordans? That's not cool to wear Jordans with a suit." All that kind of stuff. Now it's deemed as okay, that's the thing to do, but it doesn't feel natural because that influence has been kind of taken. It's not naturally what they would do,
bro. It's all part of the evolution of like culture and like how we live. And I think that as we get older, we need to, whether we choose to, is understand, not just understand for the sake of it, but times change and things evolve, man. And I think it's easy for like one to become older and be like, back in my day, or it weren't like that. Times change, man. That's how we're talking about with like the music and that, how it was 15, 20 years time. It's way different now, bro. Like I was just on a conversation earlier. Yeah. You see, like when artists be releasing like a body of work nowadays, it doesn't matter whether they call it a project, a mixtape, an LP, an album. Like they be calling it all types of stuff. Do you know the current younger generation? Do you think a 15-year-old or like a 13-year-old is like saying, "Oh man, that's his mixtape, that's not his album"? No, they just accept it as a body of work. That whole thing of people talking about, "Oh, it's an album," or like, "Is that a mixtape or an album? Or is it an LP?" That's kind of like an old way of thinking, because that was more about when it was physical. Now when it's not physical, it's different now, bro. People don't even listen to albums. Anyway, they got a playlist, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all different, man. The way people discover music, and that's all part of the evolution. It's all different now, bro. Like we can, bro. Do you think some people that are rocking Jordans, do you think they're even thinking about Michael Jordan? No,
that's what
they're
I'm
not
saying.
even thinking about Michael Jordan, bro.
That plays into exactly my point. We will buy Jordans because of the
Jordan,
because of Michael Jordan. Now people will buy Jordans because they see other people wearing them and they know that that's the shit to have.
It's cultural. It's gone. It's transcended. You know what I'm saying? It's the same with Wagwan. It's the same with Wagwan. People
Okay,
use
so
phrases and talk certain ways, and they don't even know the origins. Like, and that's not a, like, I don't know if you want to say it's a good or a bad thing. It happens, man.
it's not good or bad. The question was, does it feel natural in certain instances? If I walked into the Chinese shop and I said, "Give me a number 10," and my man goes "Wagwan," I'll be like, "Huh? What?"
Yeah, but so you might make a judgment off of that one
Not even
reaction.
a judgment. It just wouldn't.
just
It
throw
wouldn't
you
be
back.
something I'd expect him to say. Put it that way.
So you're not expecting it to say why because of the way he looks.
Because I wouldn't expect the Chinese man to just say to me "Wagwan."
Well, that's mad though. Because you
That'll
know
make
what?
me laugh,
Do you know,
you
do you
know,
know,
it
do you
really
know why
are.
that's mad? Yeah, it's because we all, even though black culture is very strong and prominent, yeah, we all share cultures, bro.
Of course.
I
But
think the
then, all right, let me
problem,
flip it to you like this.
the problem is, yeah, is when someone is not willing to like recognize the origins or dismissing the origins. They might not know, but when they get educated, you have to recognize and appreciate and salute the origins. Some people just don't know.
At the end of the day, our influence is all over the place, right? From the Caribbean, a very small selection of islands, considering how small Jamaica is and the rest of the Caribbean islands, the influence that we've had over the whole of the music industry is phenomenal, right? So that does lead into the whole UK and US scene because they do have a massive African Caribbean influence in their music also. That a lot of Americans dismiss as well and say, no, it's not Caribbean, it's all American, it's all American. And then over here, we have a closer, I think, relationship to the Caribbean and to Africa because of historical atrocities and whatever.
We
A
know
lot
where we come from.
exactly. A lot of
Americans are just
Americans
black
they
African. They're African
don't have
American.
that
Yeah.
relationship with the Caribbean or with Africa. So I think over here, like when we have carnival and all that kind of stuff, we see all the different Caribbean islands come out and represent. We've got soca, we've got dancehall, we've got reggae, we've got ragga, we've got UK, we've got everything going on. And I think a lot of that music has really formed and shaped what we hear today. So a lot of that influence, you can trace that lineage all the way through, all the way up to garage, to everything that we're UK funky, all of that stuff that we're hearing now.
Drum and bass.
All of it, literally. But when it comes to American stuff, as you said, like a lot of the kids that will be kind of soaking that music up and that culture, they might not give a shit about a Jay-Z, a Busta Rhymes, a DMX. They might really not care because all they soak up is UK stuff. I know a lot of, I work with, or I used to work much more with young kids, like teenagers. And a lot of them would only listen to UK. I would have to school them on people like
American.
Jay-Z, and I'm like, why would I have to tell you who this? But that was me because I grew up with that. But they didn't grow up with that. They grew up listening to these UK dudes. So if they're not hearing,
But the maddest thing is, like, that's why I said whether you want to recognize directly or indirectly the impact or influence as well. Not to sound like, not to contradict as well, but with the music in particular, whether a young person wants to recognize the influence of like a freaking Dipset or whoever, because your favorite artist is influenced either directly or indirectly through them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like one of the biggest drill crews, 6-7. Yeah, I've spoken to like various members from there, and they will cite Chief Keef. You know what I'm saying? But then a young person who's listening to Digga D, who's influenced by 6-7, possibly, it's indirectly influenced by, if you know what I'm saying.
That's
so Digga might say he's influenced by 6-7, but 6-7 are influenced by Chief Keef.
So with that drill scene, because I've seen a lot of disparity there as well. I've seen a lot of people saying drill started in Chicago, UK are biting drill from America. I don't really listen to that much drill, so I don't get involved in that convo because I don't know enough about it. So now you said that, that's really interesting to me that 6-7 would actually say Chief Keef is an influence. So that's something that he's actually said that he's influenced by that.
Yeah. 6-7 is like, we're talking about 6-7 as the UK drill collective. You know what I'm saying? Like Dimsy and all them lot. You know what I'm saying? LD and all them. So yes, LD has told me that. I had an interview with him recently, and you know what I mean. And I've spoken to even Section Boys, and they've said the same thing as well. What would the division that we need to make between like sort of Chicago drill and UK drill? UK drill is more like Brooklyn drill. So like, I feel like in some senses they share the title, but they don't share sonics.
Yeah, the sound is
weirdly, weirdly, like UK drill is being influenced by Chicago drill, but they've made a different spin on it. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's where it changes, man.
Like
They
UK
made
hip hop.
it their own. You could tell the sound is different.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? The sound is different, man.
Yeah, it's like UK rap, but this is what we're saying, the influence and the change over time, because as we've all said, coming up, we was probably 95% of what we listening to was American hip hop. But like my daughter, for example, she's 19 and 98% of what she listens to is UK hip hop. Like she's the one that will be schooling me and talking to me about, not old school, obviously, it's before her time, but like now, the UK scene now. She's 19 and that's all she listens to. I mean, she loves Tupac. Tupac's her ultimate favorite. But apart from Tupac, it's all UK drill, UK hip hop, everything. And I mean, we wouldn't have experienced that in our time, 19 years old, listening to all UK wouldn't have been the case.
All American, man. All American.
All American. So that's what I mean. That's where we're seeing the major change now. So what is it that's brought that change around? And I think it goes back to a lot to what I say. And I think UK is now doing its own thing, like you said, with the whole Chicago drill, making it more like the Brooklyn drill. You're kind of influenced by something and adding your own spin and making it what it is. It's like UK hip hop. We have to say that we're influenced by American hip hop because it started in America. We understand that, but
so maybe
the spin is put on it.
Like we have conversations, yeah, and sometimes I think that maybe I criticize you for not listening to much UK rap. I don't know if you want me to say that on record. But
No, I don't mind. Yeah? I don't mind.
So what am I?
Edit that out.
When I look at myself, yeah, I think to myself, would I actually be listening to much UK rap if I wasn't a DJ / presenter? And I do think that the majority of UK rap is geared towards a younger audience. I don't think there's much older rap. Do you know what I'm saying? Older UK rap. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's an observation of mine, man.
That's interesting, actually.
That is interesting for sure. Yeah, I was going to say that as well. The thing
because a lot of the olders, man, it seems like they just stopped like making.
They just stopped.
That's interesting. That don't happen in the US.
I totally agree. I think for me, the main thing that holds me back from really delving into UK hip hop, if I'm being completely 100% transparent and honest, is a lot of it sounds very samey to me, very similar. A lot of the mainstream stuff that I hear.
No.
Yeah, a lot of the mainstream. I'm not talking about the underground stuff either, by the way.
That's
a lot of the mainstream stuff. A lot of the sounds are very similar. The melodies are very similar. So once I hear something that sounds too much, I'm
going to give you 4 different sounding artists, and if you go away and you listen to these 4 artists and you say they've got nothing for you, then UK rap's not
mainstream,
for you.
Yeah? Mainstream, underground,
mainstream. Yeah. Dave sounds nothing like Huss. Dave and Huss sound nothing like Stormzy. Stormzy, Dave and Huss sound nothing like Gigs. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't sit with any of those artists, to be honest.
Well, I've given you 4 artists with 4 different dynamics, yeah?
But are they all deemed as hip hop though? That's where I start.
See, you want to debate and say if J Hussy is hip hop. J Hussy is hip hop, bro.
I was more thinking Stormzy. When I listen to Stormzy, I don't feel hip hop.
Stormzy's rap, bro. He's rap. All of those artists are different. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All of those artists, like Dave.
I'll sit with Dave. Dave's heavy.
Dave's the deeper poet. Do you know what I'm saying? Definitely about the lyrical persuasion. Huss is lyrical, and he's very like you can hear the African influence in the instrumentation. He's got different flows, waves, styles. You know what I'm saying? Stormzy is like a showman. He's big and bossy with it. Do you know what I'm saying? He's lyrical. He's got the grime. You know what I mean? Persuasion as well. It definitely does.
He sounds more grimy to me. More like grime. That's why I said what do Gigs.
Gigs is the landlord, man. He's the hood's favorite. He's the underground king. Again, lyrically, flows. He's probably done, out of all the artists I've just mentioned, he's probably done the most collaborations with American artists as well, man. I've given you 4 different, you know what I'm saying? Slight difference in generations as well amongst the 4 of them. And 4 different artists. If you don't like those 4, UK rap's not for you, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't think you could say those 4 sound alike.
Maybe not those.
Nah, they don't sound alike.
Like if you go and listen to Common Sense by J Huss. It's a masterpiece of an album. Go listen to Psychodrama. Go listen to Psychodrama by Dave. It's a masterpiece of an album. Go listen to Gang Signs and Prayer, which is like a freaking is a time capsule. And it's going to be like remembered and made a massive impact and done the major things. Go listen to like Walking Apart by Gigs. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Landlord by Gigs, bro.
See, for
You know
me,
what I'm
bro,
saying?
if I'm thinking UK and listening to albums that I need to listen to, it wouldn't be those. That's the thing. I
Nah,
wouldn't.
for me, it'd
I'd
be
go
Kano,
back. Yeah, Council of State of
Kalashnikov.
Mind. We'll talk about Kalashnikov. Do you know what I mean? I'll go back to
Sagas.
your
Yeah, but
Gangster
I'm talking.
Chronicles. I
We're
need to
talking
go back to
about
that.
we're talking about contemporary UK rap, and I
Mm.
don't think like Slack. I've just picked you up on your point there, and I think that you just have to thank me later, or I think you're gonna have to come back, and when we do another
Well,
episode, you
I've
might have to
listened.
apologize because
I've listened to
for
Gang Signs
artists,
and Prayer. I've listened to Psychodrama. I didn't like those albums. They never
but
grabbed me.
do those albums all sound alike though? You said
Not-
the albums are
I
the
said
production.
I said a lot of the mainstream stuff that I've heard does sound
Those
very
four
similar.
artists I've mentioned.
Not those 4 artists. I'll give you that. Not those 4 artists.
Okay,
But those
I could
4
go
artists that
on
I've heard,
as well. I could go on as well.
Those 4
Yeah,
artists
but
that I've heard, I haven't been impressed
I
personally.
could go on. I could go
But
on.
then,
with
if you
four
listen to
artists.
people like Mist and Nines and
Right, but I was asking
and these
Scraps.
people, they all sound the same to me.
No. Hold on. You said Mist and Nines.
Is it Nines? Mist, Nines? What's the other guy?
Mist and Nines sound similar.
See, what you've got to go by though. SK, check it though.
You want to have this conversation?
Check it. No, check it. I'm not talking about sitting down with albums here, yeah. Because if you're sitting down, if you take, but if you take two albums that, or 2 artists that sound the same, and if you sit and play their albums back to back, there's clearly going to be differences. We don't mean that, but you know, what you pick up, or the songs that are released, or what have you, or the things you're hearing.
They're singles.
A lot of the melodies and a lot
the
of the
feel
sound
is the same. The feel is the same. Do you know what I'm saying?
A lot of it feels like.
Tell me how it feels like.
Fredo, is it Fredo or Fredo? Fredo, Mist.
You got
I
me
think they all
saying
sound similar.
No,
I think they all
man.
sound similar, man.
Fredo, Mist, and Nines do not sound the same. For starters, yeah.
See, that's why someone like Dave stands out to me.
Mist has a dialect.
Yeah, not like your voice or your or your lyrics as such.
Aside from the voice,
yeah, because no one sounds like Mist.
No. The Nines' music does not sound like Mist's music. No. If you said to me Nines and Gigs, I might say, but not Nines and Mist. No. Sorry. I mentioned to you 4 artists that sound sonically, their voice sound different, and their tunes don't sound the same. J Hus, Dave, Stormzy, and Gigs.
See,
none of those other artists have got a song that sounds like Talking the Hardest. None of them.
See, Gigs is a whole different kettle of fish because I can't listen to Gigs anyway. It's
Why?
just just too simplified for me, man. It's too much for me.
I rate Gigs, but I wouldn't put Gigs on in my house.
No,
yeah,
I
but
can't.
do you know what though? Like, because we're having a real conversation about UK rap right now. Yeah, I want to hear what era you're talking because I feel like Gigs has gone through different chapters as well. Like,
Anything I've heard of Gigs, it's just the only thing I rate him for is that if he wants to get people singing along to his stuff or make catchy music or simple bars that anyone can rap along to, he's the king of that. You see what I'm saying? But I need more from music. And everyone says, not everyone.
What don't you like about
Huss?
What don't you like about Huss?
I wouldn't say I dislike Huss, but it's just, I wouldn't
right.
put his music on and listen to it. For me, UK, and we're talking newer, yeah, because obviously, if we're going back to 90s, that's a different kettle of fish.
Who are these fantastic?
No. I don't even mean that. What I'm saying is, if I'm listening to UK hip hop, right, for me, it would have to be older UK hip hop or underground hip hop. Do you know what I mean? UK that we're listening to. If I'm listening to more mainstream, like for me, I mean, there's always debates on the timeline or whatever, but commercial hip hop versus underground. As we've clearly said, I listen to way more American. Not saying it's right or wrong. That's just what I came in on. Listen to way more American. But I'm one of the few people that I don't mind commercial hip hop. I don't mind it. I know there's a lot of barrage against commercial hip hop. I don't mind it at all. But I love underground as well.
My favorite rapper ever was commercial. Big was a
That's
commercial rapper. So
I like commercial.
I can't ever say I don't like commercial hip hop. You know what I mean?
Right.
It means it was commercial.
Exactly. So I don't mind commercial hip hop or underground hip hop. Obviously, the underground hip hop scene, American underground hip hop scene, is on fire, and it's a beautiful place to be.
And I need you to listen to a song.
But UK commercial, I can't listen to. If I'm listening to any UK hip hop, it would have to be underground or old, classic. You know what I mean? I don't like commercial UK hip hop.
I think this is just a generation thing, man. Of like maybe you've got scars of like how you feel about UK rap and all that stuff, and you just can't, get past it because you know what? I don't know if this means much to you, but your favorite American rappers, past or present, they sit down with Common Sense by J Hus and they recognize that album, bro.
But I can recognize something
They sit down with Psychodrama. They sit down with Landlord, or they.
I rate Dave though. I rate Dave. I rate Dave.
You know what slammed me off Dave? I think Dave can rap, yeah. But you know what slammed me off Dave? When I heard them saying that he was the UK Nas. That's when I was
okay. Do you know why? Yeah. Take into perspective his age as well. Yeah.
You know how old Dave is? A young guy. Yeah.
So
he's like 22 or something like that.
Compare Dave at 22 to Nas at 22, bro. Like Dave now, I know it's weird. 19. Do you know what? Do you know what? Yeah, I know. But by the time It Was Written came out, yeah, he was like 20. He was in his 20s. 21. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. 22. Yeah, the same age as Dave when he's released his his first and second album around the same age. Do you know what I'm saying?
You got to rate Dave. The lyrical content is there.
You know what's hard for people to grasp, yeah, is that we have to look when you're mentioning Nas, yeah, and you're mentioning Biggie, you're mentioning artists that have had 25 yeyears of celebration. It's very hard for you to compare a new artist, and it's not fair because I feel like what we need to is compare. Yeah. We need to you see, when we're removed from the music, when the music's had time to simmer, marinate. But music now as well is reason why there's pros and cons to it. Yeah, music is very fast food these days,
and it's very accessible.
100%. The way that it's accessible, the way that it's treated, bro. Exactly. Now you release an album, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, the album's old, bro.
Exactly.
100%.
And you know why it's old? It's old for because the amount of music being released. And the way that you've got so much accessibility to that album, you don't even need to buy it.
Exactly. We've done a whole episode on that, man. Yeah.
Over and over again on the radio, wherever you are, because hip hop is a big thing now, UK and US. You just have to have it on your streaming service. People pay $9.99 for the thing. They don't want to buy no album though.
That's right.
You know, so you see, back in the day when you said you bought the vinyl for $7.99 and that was a lot of money. It's not even a lot of money, yeah. I know you mean when you was a kid. Nah, it's not a lot of money, and we would spend that on an album. That's a lot of money for people to spend on the album now.
That $7.99 I spent on one song, you spend that now, and you get access to millions
of songs per month.
So everything has changed with how we listen to it, how we consume it. A song will come out on a Friday, and by midnight on Saturday, it's a classic. It's the greatest album ever.
Anyone who says that
again after 2 weeks, you never hear about it.
Perspective though, because to be honest, I can't even come up with that argument though, because I'm only taking anyone who says that. I just can't take them serious. Anyone that I revere as you know what I mean, ain't gonna say something like that. So we need to really recognize where we're taking these quotes and these things from. That's nice.
Of course.
But it's the same people that would say that would say Dave is the UK Nas. Now, if they just said Dave was Dave, cool, because no one could ever say that the guy can't rap or he can't make
comparisons a lot of the times.
UK Nas is why are you doing that to the guy? Nas is being,
comparisons a lot of the times, they're funny things in it because no two artists are really going to be as similar. You see, taking it away from the UK thing, I literally think DMX was our later generation's version of Tupac. I think they were very similar.
I've always said that.
You know what I'm saying? But when you're comparing Nas to Dave, you're basically just comparing him because of their lyrical,
the age,
and their lyrical ability. Not there's not similar sonics or similar do you know what I'm saying? But
there's nothing you can draw
for a generation. Maybe what to a generation what Dave means. There's comparisons there then.
But then
he wouldn't even mean that though.
Let Dave have and enjoy his generation. Then comparing him to someone like Nas is taken away from his achievement.
Whether we like it or not, there's going to be comparisons.
It's unwarranted pressure though.
Make it sensible. Compare him to another UK artist that's come out young and that's made a career.
Or maybe just don't do comparisons. But there's going to be comparisons. There's going to be comparisons. It's like when they did
Drake and Michael Jackson. How do you even fathom comparing him to Michael Jackson? It doesn't make sense. So
the reason why that comparison can't happen. The reason why that comparison can't happen with Dave and Michael Jackson, is because for a simple fact that Michael Jackson, it's a weird comparison. Michael Jackson was a child star to an adult star. Drake weren't. We're looking at a career from Michael Jackson from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and noughties, bro. 4 decades. Drake's like literally reigned for like maybe 12, 11, 12 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to push it. So that's a weird comparison.
Talk about height of fame, but
we're looking at numbers. Yeah, numbers. We're looking at numbers. We're looking at numbers.
And we're looking at numbers in the streaming era versus the era where you had to go out and buy
music.
We are used to seeing the nonsense, the comparisons that don't make any kind of sense. But like I said, the only reason that I was kind of even slightly put off Dave was because of that kind of noise. Like now I'm looking at someone like Little Sims, right? Who I think her music's fantastic. Like she's
getting that American hype now.
She really makes albums, and she's reached over to Americans and now starting to look at her and respect her music and stuff like that. Like we've waited a long time in the UK for Americans to really appreciate people that are putting together real bodies of work and stuff like that.
It's been happening. Respect to Little Sims. Sometimes I might be introvert. That's the latest album. It's been happening. I mean, I could go back like a good 10 years. Like Diddy put out a tweet and asked who was the hottest UK artist to work with, and he wanted to do a remix of Hello Good Morning, and loads of people said Skepta, and then he collaborated with Skepta. Shout out to Skepta, because Skepta's probably another artist that has done big collaborations. Skepta not only has produced, not only has made one of the biggest UK US collaborations, but also produced the track, and that's a song that he done with ASAP Rocky. Praise. You know what I'm saying?
That was on they went back
to back. They had a verse, then they went back to back, and he produced the song as well. Like that, I think to date that's probably, like, off the top of my head, that's actually the biggest UK US collaboration. But there was also a time when
American Boy with Estelle and Kanye. But
what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the package of Skepta featured on an American song and produced it. Yeah. So Estelle's song, it's her song, and she didn't produce it. I'm not taking away from that, because she won a Grammy for that, and that was big. But also, like, American Boy was a bit more of a like popular daytime radio London song, and Praise the Lord was a bit more of a like rap thing. But different eras as well, because I also go back to 2008, 9, 10 as being, I spoke about So Solid, They Don't Know album. Pivotal points in this UK rap thing was So Solid, They Don't Know, Dizzy Rascal, Boy in the Corner, 2004, Kano, Home Sweet Home, 2005, and then you jump to about, and then you got Sway, This Is My Demo, around 2006 time, independently, and then you've got like the 08, 9, 10 era when Estelle, Ironic, Chipmunk, Tiny Temper all came through at the same time. Tinchy Strider as well, all MC driven music, signed major label deals and raised the visibility, and sort of a lot of the artists now success is standing on what they done then, because since then we've had sustained success. We've never had that before. When we're talking about 04, Boy in the Corner, 05, Kano, Home Sweet Home, we're talking about albums that didn't even chart in the top 10. We're talking about, you know what I mean? We're talking about a different dark era, like a darker era. What's So Solid done back then?
The music was great. Like Kano's album was fantastic, man. Like,
one of my favorite UK rap albums, man.
Of all time. Like Kano, I think we should do that as well. I think we should have list our top 3 like UK artists, because we'll probably all have someone completely different. But yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, we'll do that.
The 04, 05, because I remember when Dizzy Rascal's album came out, and that was making noise here, and it was making big noise in the US as well. People knew who Dizzy Rascal was. He was killing carnivals, killing live shows. He was doing everything. Kano then dropped the year after, and he did the same. And now he's doing movies, and he's looked at one of the goats of the UK.
Jay-Z said he's one of the best UK rappers he's heard. Kano.
He is. Kano is brilliant to me. Like seriously. So for me, it'll be Kalashnikov, Kano, and maybe Gets is my top 3 favorite.
Yeah, Gets is a beast.
UK artists. That I listen to. Those are my top 3.
I'm gonna say Sway for me. I mean, I know Sway ain't put out the
I like Sway
the amount of work. Like all these artists that we're talking about, they've put out a lot of body. But for me, This Is My Demo. And the thing I always admired about Sway is that he's lyrically gifted. He don't need to like curse all the time. He's not a no gangster vibe. He's just doing his thing. And I think at that time, to make such an impact in the UK scene of what he was doing like that was impressive, man. I like Sway. For me, Wretch 3-2, man. I think he's
dope as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I think lyrically, he's got content, and obviously, he's a young guy as well. The content,
he makes good albums, man. He
makes good albums, man. Yeah, good production. Even if he has to go the little commercial route, he does it well. Do you know what I'm saying? He's good with it, but his underground stuff, he's a lyricist, man. Definitely. So yeah, I'll probably say Sway, Wretch 3-2. Boy, to have a third, I might have to put honorable mention. Might have to be Black Twang, or Kano. I might have to put them two as a joint third. Yeah, Black Twang. Yeah, there's a few. It'd be hard to tie it down to
overlap. We've got an overlap, all of us, yeah. But like, see, I've got favorite MCs for various reasons, and to mention 3 or 5 is very difficult for me. For me, Gets or Ghetto has my favorite as a UK MC, as my favorite discography. He's got 3 classic albums.
Gets is crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Kano is in the conversation for me. Chip, I don't love his bodies of work, but as an MC,
he's a fantastic rapper.
He's sick. Wretch 3-2 is in there. Sway is in there. As an MC, there's someone called Dirty Goods. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was a dope MC, but never put together a fantastic body of work. You know what I'm saying? Sway, did I say Sway? I said Sway. Honorable mentions to like gigs for me as well, man. I think what he's done, like, as he single-handedly, but he brought underground rap. You know what I mean? He was unapologetic, unfiltered. You know what I'm saying? So
whether you like his music or not, what he's done for the UK scene is you can't ever question Gigs. Can't ever question him.
You know what I'm saying? As someone as well who does their own thing and is like,
it's got to be Boy Better Know, man. The whole movement.
Well, I'm saying JME as an independent, he's kept it independent. He's played by his own rules. He's done what he wanted to do. Like JME, sick, bro. His Grime MC album, bro. I think people slept on that, but like this guy,
none of us have even mentioned Wiley, you know.
No, but we haven't mentioned him, but you've mentioned him, but that's cool, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mike Righteous for just bars and spitting. Mike Righteous is probably one of the best on the mic, man. Just for rapping, straight spitting, Mike Righteous. That's what I mean. There's so many ways that we can go.
You know what's really interesting about this conversation? We've had differences in what we like and what we don't like. But when it comes down to it, we've all had very similar MCs in our favorites.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I do want to say to you, some of the 2 newer MCs that I think will be definitely in my mentioned in, like, maybe if we're having this conversation in another 5 to 10 years time, I could see like Dave's well on his way.
Dave's definitely
in that conversation for me, and Jay Huss, man. Like, bro, like.
And we got to shout Dizzy as well, man, because I know he kind of went the whole club route doing his thing. But I remember when I was in New York in 2014, I was walking through and this guy stopped me in Manhattan somewhere asking me something. And when I started to speak, he was like, "Oh, you're from the UK?" I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh man, I love Dizzy Rascal." Do you know what I mean? And at that time, I didn't even really put out much, but it's just interesting what we're saying.
There's a difference between there's a difference between best MCs, favorite MCs, and bodies of work. So,
of course,
I mentioned Dirty Goods. Like, he doesn't have a body of work, but in regards to what I saw him doing on the, like, as an MC on the stage shows on like pirate radio and stuff in the raves, Dirty Dogs, bro, like, sick. But bodies of work as well, if you want to bring that into it, Boy in the Corner and Showtime, the first 2 albums from Dizzy Rascal, bro, like, you can't mention UK rap or UK MC driven albums and not mention those 2 albums, man. Do you know why it's difficult for me to put, like, you mentioned Wiley, and like let's forget about the noise and the controversy and that. There are American artists that, like, people will mention as legends because of their impact and, like, maybe their discography. But for me with Wiley, which body of work are we choosing as the classic or your best body of work? Like, I could say Dizzy Rascal, Wretch 3-2, Gets, Gigs, what their definitive album and their classic album is. And I think that with Wiley, that's a problem. With JME, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? I have to mention Frisco in there as a sick MC as well. Do you know what I'm saying? MC, do you know what I'm saying? And I've liked bodies of work of his as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is where we have to differentiate. But Wiley has had a major impact on this UK MC culture. And he's also stood side to side, shoulder to shoulder with artists. And he has brought a lot of artists through as well.
Yeah. Let me ask this, because I'm just looking at the time. I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but let me ask this. It's just a question that came to mind. So we're talking about obviously UK, US differences, the respect. Well, I'm going to ask, would you say it's a respect thing? Because we're talking about we're seeing more UK and US collaborations now. We could have had could have been a good one with Dipset and So Solid, but we know how that turned out. Do you know what I mean? So Solid having to run them out the building, basically. You know what I mean? Because of that beef and that there. Once again, but I thought that was all on the basis of a disrespect, because I know there were certain business transactions that didn't take place. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the UK just weren't respected like that. UK artists weren't respected like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Dipset, I don't feel they had the respect that they should have had for So Solid. And it turned out the way it turned out. When we had the episode with Indy on, we were speaking about concerts. We were talking about maybe American artists due to come over and then pulling out. We're saying, do we think it's a respect thing? What do you think it is nowadays that makes UK and US collaborations more feasible now? Do you think it's because there's more of a respect for the UK there? What do you two think about that?
I think there's a couple of things. I think firstly, as SK said earlier, artists aren't relying on labels nowadays. Like, artists can make things happen on their own. Like, if you want to make a track with someone that you've linked with, like Giggs wants to make a track with Drake, or Drake will reach out to Giggs, or a next man could make a tune that's just a banger, and American artists will hear it and just jump on it and just, do a remix or whatever. So you're not constrained by labels anymore as much as we used to be. And secondly, I think a lot of American artists came over here and were shocked by how
the scene
ghetto some places are, how real some places are. They'll go to Brixton, Catford, Peckham, all them ends, and see like people ain't messing about out there. So they might have an idea of British people are soft. They don't carry weapons, and you know what I mean.
They drink tea with a little finger elevated,
all that kind of stuff. But they come over here and they see like it's not sweet. So I think that's where a lot of the respect came from as well. Maybe mid to late 2000s, people were starting to like, some US artists were coming over here and getting themselves in all sorts of problems.
And maybe it's not to be taken personally as well, man. We've always there's always been this thing that Americans don't have passports and Americans don't travel outside their country. To a lot of Americans, America is the world. They don't care about what happens outside of America.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
No,
real talk. It's a massive place.
They don't really care about really going outside of the UK. I mean, outside of America. So it's not personal with us over here with our music scene. It's like America have got like what they feel is everything they need in their own country.
You only need to blow in one state. In America, you only need to blow one state.
Now, what the difference is now, it's not what's the saying? It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. I don't even know if that makes any sense. But like now we've blended into like sort of one whole world now. It's more the connection's easier, like online, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And I think Americans, they don't even need to be over here to see what's going on. They could just look at your socials and see how much clout you got and look at your numbers. And it's a business transaction sometimes. So let's not even get it twisted. Some people might be looking at like, oh, this American really messes with this. Nah, they look and they see that, oh, this man's got weight. Collaborations are like easier now. Before, the scene over here didn't have no weight and they couldn't see the numbers and all that. We're in a numbers era. We're in a clout generation. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of collaborations are happening off of that. A lot of collaborations are happening just off of like a lottery of artists going on Twitter and going on their social media and saying who's the hottest artist out here. Yeah. And like, do you know what I'm saying? Meek Mill done it recently. Like, artists have been doing that, man. So these Americans, they come over here now and it's like, it's a move for them to collaborate with a UK artist now. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's a move.
But that wouldn't even be looked at before.
Yeah, that goes back to what Easton was saying. The respect level was definitely there because there was a time where they wouldn't be on a track with a UK artist, regardless if it was like easy collab. They'll just be like, nah, I'm not collaborating with one of those guys. But now I think it's a thing. It's a thing for it to actually happen.
And we've also gone through a period as well of where there was collaborations were happening, but you could see it was strictly business because they'd almost take the cash and run and go. Exactly. There wouldn't be no sort of collaborative promo afterwards, where now it's different as well. Like you're seeing collaborations happen and you're seeing the collaborative promo after as well. So I think that's what has been part of the evolution and what maybe UK labels and artists have learned as well from maybe being burnt before.
Yeah,
Because it's a big thing to see and have done. Because
Is it? I don't know if it is even that big anymore. Like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. Now, that's exactly my point. It's normal now because back in the day when we've all tried rapping at one stage, innit? But back in the day when you'd be rapping and thinking about certain things, you'd be dreaming about some of your favorite artists collaborating with this person or that person, or seeing these collaborations. And imagine if you could have so and so with so and so. Now it's feasible.
You can do it. Yeah.
Not just in hip hop, in R&B, and all different types of things. It's not like you just said. It's not surprising to see anymore. No. But that shows you how far we've come. But I definitely do think there's a lot of respect, like you both said as well. They see that they're moving over here, isn't it? There's numbers being sort of equated to over here as well, and things are happening.
There's enough artists making noise now over here. I think enough artists making quality music that people are recognizing. And I think that's just lent itself to making it grow. And I think, like SK said much earlier in the broadcast, is that UK is not at a period now where America was years ago. So it's kind of playing catch up slightly with regard to where they are. So now they're having a renaissance that America had maybe in the mid-90s. So there's going to come a point where you're neck and neck. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next sort of 5 to 10 years.
And some people are praying for or trying to foresee the downfall. Like they can't actually, people that are old enough, some of the people that are old enough, they can't actually believe that there's been sustained UK rap success because we've never seen such a rich era. Do you know what I mean? This has actually been reigning since like 2010 now. Before that, 100%. You'd be lucky if you had
bits and pieces.
You know what I'm saying? Like we could go back to like, bro, if you reach top 40, that was a success. Now artists are going top 10, number one. So there's a younger generation of like fans and artists are coming through now that all they expect is to listen to UK rap and have their UK rap artists at the top of the charts. It's not even a thing for your artist to be up there competing with a Drake and Kendrick Lamar. It's not even a thing.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
It's not even a thing. And there's real fans, bro. Like real fans and real pop fans. I've walked to shows before and like quiz, like who are you here to see? Like walk to festivals, like who are you here to see? Who are you here to see? And I've seen like a lot of names say certain names. I'm like, all right then, if you didn't believe it before, you can believe it now. UK Jewel, I don't think is going anywhere. Like I don't think people are thinking, oh, it's gonna go, like it's gonna go. The difference is like when grime grew and evolved, we're in a different time now.
It will just evolve, if anything. It will just evolve to something.
Think about it, bro. What did they say about hip hop when I was a teenager? What did they say? It's not gonna last. Here we are, 40, 50 years later, and it's the biggest genre.
That's it, man.
So they always say it's not gonna last because they don't like it. But it doesn't matter what they like or what they don't. It's what the people like and what the people buy into and what they live by. And that's been hip hop for the last however many years now. So they might say it won't last, but it's still here. Thriving.
Straight up.
100%, man.
Well, man, that's a good note to bow out on, I guess.
Yeah, man.
It's been a great episode, man. Learned some stuff myself. Great to have SK on, man. We'll definitely have to get you back on again, bro. Thank you for joining us.
Definitely.
And, we'll catch up with you guys next week. Once again, thank you all for subscribing, for tweeting, for following, for sharing, for all the love that we've got for the show, man. Once again, we really, really appreciate it. So big up yourselves for checking us out every week. And we'll be back next week with another topic, man. So let's sign out, guys.
Much love, man. Appreciate it. SK, do you want to give a last shout? Anything you want to plug one more time before we leave?
Know yourself out here. That's what I want to say. Look out for my new podcast series as well, man. It's going to be actually under the Know Yourself Out Here banner with a few podcasts under that umbrella. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got My Interviews Are Hotter, which are my conversations with like artists, and I've got a few other podcasts as well. I've got a Big Screen, Little Screen that I do, which is a weekly movie and TV podcast as well. And we've got some other things that are going to be launching and relaunching and boom, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? Look out for it. skVIbemaker.co.uk.
Big up, man. Big up. Follow SK, man. Follow SK on all his socials and everything. And we'll catch you.
Thank you for having me, guys, man. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Definitely.
Big up, man.
Much love, man. Peace, man.